I saw this post on Reddit just a few seconds ago, and I see the post was from 1 year ago, and it's titled Questions for House MD Fans. And so the first question is, who is your favorite character? And I would have to say that my favorite character in House MD is probably Robert Chase and or Jessica Adams. I like both of them. But since we saw more of Chase, I would choose him as my favorite character. But I think that if we saw more of Adams, if the show had been longer, then I might be saying Adams instead. So who deserved better? That's the second question. And I'm going to say, once again, Robert Chase. Because I feel like he always got the short end of the stick in all of his situations, and I kind of felt bad for the character throughout. But at the same time, he's the one who succeeds House, and he becomes the new House at the end. So I guess it all worked out, and there were reasons why things happened to him the way they did because it was working up to him becoming the new House. Favorite and least favorite episode and why? This one's tricky. Actually, not really. My favorite episode, of course, was the episode titled Chase. My favorite character, who deserved better, and also my favorite episode, the one that focuses on Chase right after he got stabbed trying to save Adams. It really focuses on his character and the complexity of it, and he has an encounter with the patient who happens to be a nun, and that's another very interesting thing. So that is my favorite episode, the one titled Chase. I don't really have many episodes that I dislike, although there were some that I really didn't like. Oh yeah, I remember. And it might be a little unfair to say this because I haven't really finished watching the episode, but season 7, episode 19, the one that focuses on Masters, that's my least favorite. I haven't even watched half of it yet, but maybe I'll change my mind after I watch it eventually. But yeah, I didn't really like that episode. Season 8, episode 21 is not my favorite either, because Chase is gone by that point, so that's one of the reasons why. And also, there were some episodes in season 4 that were incredibly slow. Season 7 overall was great. I'm just trying to think if there's any other specific episodes that I really dislike. Yeah, but the point here is my favorite episode was season 8, episode 12, titled Chase. My favorite ship, once again, Chase and Adams. I think that had a lot of potential, and it would have been fascinating to see on screen. Of course, they implied it many times, and there were a lot of sparks between Chase and Adams in season 8 from the moment they met, and lots of things going on. And of course, he saved her life, and they made a few flirty jokes before that, and of course, they almost get together in season 8, episode 17, but he decides to reject her, and so that's really the end of their relationship. Like, they didn't really have one, but that's really the end for them, and then later he ends up leaving, but then he comes back, so it's Chase Adams and Park, and so maybe somewhere down the line something did happen between them, and I like to think that Chase and Adams eventually got together because that is my favorite ship, and also because I have devised some fan fictions about that, and of course that's in another video that I made. But moving on, the best case would probably have to be, and this is a unique choice, but I think the case that I like the best is the one that Foreman solved. It was a minor case; it wasn't really part of the bigger issue, but it was the minor case in season 5, episode 8, where Foreman finds out that the reason the little kid that he's treating is sick is because because his older brother has been giving him too many vitamins, and I think that was pretty um, intriguing. It was a special case, so I like that. Which team do I like the most? I'll have to say I'm going to cheat a little bit on this question and say that I would want Chase, Adams, Cameron, Taub, the four of them on a team. I would want to mix it up and put those four on a team together. I think that would work great. So that would be my favorite team that I made up. Would you change something about the show? I would change a lot of things about the show, honestly. And even though I really do like it, I would change a lot of things. So, there's a few different ways I could have taken this. So maybe, perhaps I would have ended the show with season 8, and I know that would be sad because we wouldn't have gotten Adams as a character then, and she didn't come um, show up until season 8. So yeah, I probably would have ended it with season 7. So after House drives into Cuddy's house, and then he flees the country, and he's hanging out at some beach far away, and that's the last scene we see. I would have made that the end of the whole series, and that would have been it. And so that would have been a very open ending. Okay, yeah, but so that's the first thing I might have done. And the second thing is what I didn't like, or actually, I guess what just slightly bothered me is that each episode there's a different person with a different situations. So this is hard to explain in words, but what I would have done was, like, for instance, we had in season 1, episode 3, Occam's Razor, Brandon and Mindy come in, and Brandon was the guy who was sick, and his fiancee Mindy was there with him. So maybe Brandon and Mindy get married, and then their kid shows up at the hospital in season 8 as a patient, and Brandon and Mindy are back. But so, like, what I mean is bring the minor characters, the minor one-time episode actors back for other things. So maybe have someone else who's related to them come in. Like, I would have wanted to see some of this, just some of the same actors from time to time in some cases. If that makes sense, I know it's hard to word it, but I'm just trying my best to point that out here. Okay, I'm just going to go season by season. So season 1, not sure how much I change. Season 2, I think in season 2 I probably would have killed off Foreman. In that, when he got sick, I would have written the character out, and then maybe replaced him with someone new in season 3. And then, of course, moving on to season 3, I think after Foreman quits, Chase gets fired, and Cameron quits, I would have just written them out of the show completely. And in season 4, just brought in some completely new people, and not have dealt with the old people. So yeah, so I wouldn't have had Cameron, Chase, and Foreman come back in the 4th season. And I really like the actors, by the way. I think Morrison, Epps, and Spencer do a great job. And like I said, I've been saying Chase is my favorite character, but still, I think it would have been more exciting if we had gotten more variation and more fluidity in terms of the characters. Switch them up a lot. Really just knock it off balance a little bit. Yeah, season 4, not sure how. For season 4, I think I would have just gotten rid of Amber's character entirely and had the finale be something else, because I never really liked the character of Amber. I like how the actor portrayed that character, and I think the actor did a great job, but didn't like the character. Season Now, I really I probably would have. I'm not sure I would have tweaked many things in season 5. Yeah, I'm not really sure what I would have tweaked in season 5, but I guess if we talk some specifics, obviously House's parents make their second appearance in season 5 for the whole series, and I think we should have seen more of House's parents a little bit. I think the few times that they showed up, obviously the father was dead the second time, but the few times that the mother showed up, she really had an impactful role on House, and I think her character did a lot of good things in terms of the plot, so that was nice. Oh, and speaking about earlier, I probably would have liked to have seen Foreman's dad a few more times, I think, and also Foreman's brother. They were interesting characters. And I certainly would have loved to have seen Stacy come back at some point during the series. Although I guess her send off in season 2 was pretty decent. And I also would have liked to have seen House's friend Dylan Crandall from season 2, episode 23, show up again, maybe at his funeral. And speaking of the funeral for House, I think it would have been nice to see some of his patients show up, or some other people that he would have known or knew at the time. Yeah, and season 6, like I said, I probably wouldn't have kept Cameron around in the whole series that late in the series. I think her final episode in season 6 was pretty good, but otherwise, yeah. Not a whole lot I would change about season 6. Season 7 was, like I said, excellent. And like I said before, I probably would have ended it with season 7. With Cuddy, I think I would have eliminated the character of Cuddy, like, completely, instead of leaving her ending. Instead of just having her move away, I would have just ended the character right then and there on the spot. And that, so like if, let's say in season 7, episode 15, she was actually sick and something happened to her, then House would have had to deal with it. And I think that would have been an really impactful journey for him. And maybe at that point, I would have brought Stacy back. So maybe get rid of Cuddy and then bring back Stacy, something like that. Yeah, that's an idea. Or with Cuddy, I think I would have probably written off the character much earlier in the series, and had and maybe made Wilson take Cuddy's spot. Yeah, I would have. Yeah, I really do like the character of Cuddy, but I would have written her off much earlier. As for the other parts of season 7, I really did not like the character of Masters. I think Amber Tamblyn is fantastic, but the character of Masters I do not like at all. Now, let's see. Let me get to some more specifics here. I think I would have slightly increased the fatality rate among the patients, had more patients not make it, because that would make it more realistic. And maybe even had some cases that House just doesn't, that no one solves, and cases that just go unanswered, because I think that would also be great. And I I would have definitely brought in Odette Annable much earlier, because she did a great job as Dr. Adams, and I think having her as a character earlier on would have been very helpful to the series. So maybe they could have brought her in season 7 or 6 or even 4. Those would have been great ideas, I think. Yeah, so lots of ideas I have on how I would do things differently. those are just some of my thoughts. Oh, and at the end of season 8, I would have probably just have had House end up with Dominica, and he retires, and he and Dominica move away, or maybe Stacy comes back or whatever, and then I would have had Chase and Adams get together, and then just given all the characters more definitive endings, and I wouldn't have done the House um, fake death thing. That was a little much. And actually, I might have killed off Wilson much earlier in the series. I think that would have been quite a quite a wrench. Maybe get rid of Wilson and replace him with Alvy. Just a thought. Would be nice. Yeah, there's a lot of different ways the show could have gone, but I do like the way it went overall, so it was excellent. So those are my thoughts.